In this video, we're going to explore how we can create a waterfall chart in Chart.js and having it unique color for the beginning value and the ending value, as you can see here. So with this waterfall, we have these two are different colors, and then these colors here are color coordinated based on the value. If the bar chart is increasing, it becomes green, and if it starts to decrease, it becomes red. So let's start to explore how to do this right now. In this video, we're going to focus on creating a waterfall chart with a unique color on the first and last bar in Chart.js. So this will be quite interesting because this is like an add-on on creating a waterfall chart. But we will start completely from scratch. So let's start to explore how to do this. So the first thing what we need is our default code. So I would highly recommend you to go to chartjs3.com getting started. And in here, we'll grab the default code. And if you want to understand what the default code is or how it works, please check this video here. If we're going to copy just this entire chunk of code and paste that in our template. Once we did that, I'm going to cut this out, put it in here, remove that and put it in the title here. Save that, refresh, and there we are. So now we have a very simple bar chart. And what we want to do now is convert this, or not even convert this, we want to change this into a waterfall chart. And to do that, what we need to have is we need to make it floating, and we need to do some tiny adjustments here. Alright, so first of all, let's go and work on that immediately. What we're going to do here is here in the border width, I'll just put in here comma, and once we have this comma here, I'm going to say here border skip, and then we put this on false. If I do this, what will happen is you can see now the border here has been drawn, well before or previously it was not. And this is necessary because we'll make this floating. And to float this, we have to push it up, and then it should look nice. Alright. Next thing what we're going to do now is basically adding the border colors here and the background color. And what we really want here is very straightforward, only one thing. We want to make sure that this has a color. If we're going up or down, it should match the color. So if it increases, it should go up. Think like a candlestick chart. So then if it increases, it will go up. And if it decreases, it goes down. However, for the beginning and the first and the last value, we should have a different color because they will probably not count as going up or going down because it's the ending point. Alright, so that's what we're going to do right now. Or first we're going to give it a color, and then we're going to give these ending points a proper if statement to see if this is ending, yes or no, show a different color. To do this, we need to work here. Basically in this we're going to work, but then specifically in the elements. So we go in the elements object. Then in the elements object, we're going to say here the bar, because we're going to pinpoint a specific bar. And then what we want to do here is very straightforward. We're going to say the background color must be adjusted. Alright, and what we have to adjust more is, of course, our border color. And then those two will be applied within a function. And we're going to comma this here. And what we will do, just to make sure, we want to make sure that the border width that we have here down, you can see, is set here as well. We just make it 2 just to make it more clear. Alright, so I'll just comment this out for now because we're going to extract the colors here later on. So we're going to have this, we have here these two specific values with commas here, and this will be a function. And what's the function name here? Well, in this case, if it's going to be a color for the bar, we can say bar color code. We do the same here, bar color code, make sure you have the parentheses here, there we are. Alright, so this basically means there's a function here, and to get the color we need to push it into a function. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put in a function, I'll just put it here below, between the config and the data section. So in here, what we're going to do now is we just say here function, there's a bar color code, and then in here, I'm going to do the following. We will return, and this is very important, is the CTX, which is basically all the content or the context of the canvas. So basically CTX refers to the canvas, and then here specifically in the canvas now, specifically within this section here, the bars and the elements, the colors, etc., etc. To make sure you have an understanding what this is, we will show you as well. So what we can do here is a console log. Then we say here CTX. If I save this right now and refresh, alright, you can see it works. And the reason why it works is because now the colors are set on a default color, which is unknown color. So the function works, and then here, if I refresh, let's refresh one more time, we can see here what is going on. We get here now the entire CTX, and even if you hover over it, we get, it triggers the CTX as well. So this is the CTX, it consists of all of these values, data, index, element. You can see all of these values that we need, index, mode, etc., etc., parse, raw, everything is in here. Alright, so this is beautiful. So what we really want to do here now is to figure out if we are on top or not. Oh, before we will continue on, I realize we need to have floating points here because we're missing those. So let's start to work with these floating points. To do this, all we need here is basically this part needs to be adjusted. I'm going to cut this out, put it in here. Then we put in here these values, or let me put them here up. Ignore this for now, because the only thing what I want here is these numbers should be connected. Meaning this is the first one, and then what we have to do is basically this. We say we have this, and then the next one should be 12 to 6. And then the next one will be eventually consistently like that. So we're going to link them all. I'm just going to paste in some extra values. Alright, 12 to 6, 6 to 9, 12 to 6, 6 to 9. And then we have 9 to 12. And then we have 12 to 3. And then we have 3 to 9. Alright, so then we have here in total of, this is 5 lines I realize. So do I have everything? 6, 9, 9, this. Alright, so just put in here some extras. This would be 9 and 3. And then finally we have 3 to 12. Beautiful. Commas on each. I'm going to delete this, and we're going to delete this one as well. But keep this bracket here, keep these brackets as well in here. Save that, refresh. Now you can see we have these nice floating points here. Alright, so this is beautiful. But of course, I can see we have a double here, or redundancy. Oh, alright, it's not really double, it's just slightly different. But that's nice, because you will see later on the color differences on this. Alright, I realize we're still missing one final item here. This will be 12, and this will be 15. Oh, don't want that. Save that. Ignore. There we are. So we have now these nice items starting to color them correctly. So we have this here. We go in this function. We have the console log. How will we do this? To color them, we have here these console log. Here we have all the information. But what we need to know now is basically the positioning of it. And if we go here to the parsed area, so we have the CTX parsed. Alright, so what we're going to do is basically this. We want to understand here if it's increasing or decreasing. So how will we do this? Well, we can see here these values. This is 12. It starts with 12, and then it goes down to 6. The same here, it's 6, and this goes up to 9. So we're going to grab these numbers here to find these. We can find it here in the parsed. So look at this. Then you go here to parsed, and then from parsed, you can see here, well, let's go on this one here, which is 12 and 6. Go all down here to the bottom, and you have here even the raw, but we also have the parsed here. We can see here, and then we go to the custom, and you can see here the exact value here, which would be the starting point here for the bar start and the bar end, or not even the, if I'm more correct, it starts at 12, sorry, but it ends at 6. So this is the one that we need. All right. So let's grab this. So we go CTX, and we say dot parsed dot underscore custom dot start. And once we have that and we refresh, you can see here we get the values, and then we only get now the starting value. And with this, we can easily have our points to calculate. Then the next one we will do here is the ending point. So if I refresh, do this and that, and there we are. So now we get here, if you select this, 12 and 6, another one here, 6 and 9. So now we have this part. So what we're going to do now is here with this to create a comparison of it. It's very simple. We say here constant, and then we say here start equals that. And then next one we will do here is a constant, and then we say ending equals the ending point. And now we can compare them quickly. So what we will have to do here now is very straightforward. Create a let value, and we say here the bar color. So to determine the color, we will say let bar color equal, and then we say here start, and then we say this if the start is smaller or equal to end. In that case, we want to give it the color, and we can say here color green. Let's make that green here. That's all right for now. And that's the first one. So the next one would be if the starting value is bigger compared to the ending value, at that very moment we will make it red. And finally we can say here default item, which would be black. Of course we will not do anything here because we expect always a value. So this will be basically ignored. But we will not put here undefined because then the color will be unknown or basically grayish. Very similar to this now. Here basically black as well, default black. Alright? But we want to make sure there's a color. So once we did this, semicolon here, if we start to save this, and then what we want to do here finally is to put in here a return. So we're going to say here return, and we say here bar color. Save that and then refresh. You can see here now we have these bar colors, and this one is nicely going. This one is going from 3 to 9, which is up. The next day, the next day it goes from 9 to 3. It's almost look like a stock market here, which is basically a candlestick. All right, so this is fine. But now you might say, well, the first day and the last day should not have these kind of comparison. We should have this excluded from it, so they should be in a different color. Let's say a default color of black. All right. So let's do this one right now because this is quite common in a waterfall chart. So what we're going to do here is very straightforward, a simple if statement. We're going to create an if statement here, or how we can do this. Before we even do the if statement, we need to think, how can we figure out we get the first value here? Well, basically, you can find this if you do the console log.ctx. If you save that, refresh. Alright, so then in here, what we need is the following item. We just need to go here and have to search for it. Let's see if we can find it here correctly. The chart item. The item here, no. I'm going to show you the direct way, which is the easiest way to do it. So basically we're going to say here, let's say a dot chart. And if we do this, and save that, we should see here a value as well. So we're going now to the chart itself, and then from the chart, which is here the CTX chart, and then basically we're going here. We're in the chart right now, and then what we want to do here is search for a specific item, which is the config. And if you remember this config, and then here in the config, basically we're doing this, just to make sure you understand what we're doing. Basically in the chart, and then we say config, and in config we go to data, but here we need to go from config to underscore config, and then from data to data sets, and then here we're going to put in here, and we say this one. You can see here, we can see here what is the length of it, and we can see as well the starting point. We can see all of the information we need, and what we really need is straightforward. We need to know basically this. We need to know the length, so we can estimate here the very end of it, which is number 6, but the length is 7 because it starts at 0. So once we have this, then we can do as well in the CTX. Well, we can go back to the CTX, and that's what we need then. Here, I'll show you as well. There we say in here CTX data index. If I save that one and refresh, you will see here now we have 0. 0 is 0. Alright, that's nice. So this looks beautiful. So we grab here, and if you go on this, we see here number 6. So we can compare this now. And basically what we want to do is we want to calculate that. We want to make sure we grab these values. So let's start and do something, and then after we're going to get the very last one. So we say if CTX dot data index equals strict 0, If that is the case, which would be the very first one here, is always 0, the first value. If that is the case, then we say bar color here equals black. Save that, refresh. There we are. So this works nicely. So the next thing what we want to do is the following. What we want to do is to grab the final one, and let's go back here how we grab in the chart. So let's search for this specifically. Let's go back here. I'm going to remove this, save that, refresh. So we go from chart. We are in the chart, and then we go to config underscore. So I'm going to type that in there. Config underscore config. Alright. There we are. We go down here, we go to data. Then we go to data sets, and data sets here is only data set 0. And then in here, we go to the data itself. Alright, so remember, it's data set 0 because there's only one data set right now. It's the very first data set in the array. So we go here, say here, data set 0, and then dot, what we want is the data length, number 7. So that's data dot length. So if I save this now, refresh, we get here number 7, and that's the one we need. But of course, remember, this is 0 and this is 6. So what we need to do is, let me show you what we're going to do here. It's another if statement. And if ctx is equals, and then we're going to grab this entire chunk of code, -1. And the reason why -1, because we want to make sure we grab the number 6. Well, there's the length of 7, but the array value is number 6. So if I save this now and refresh, there we are. So now we have these two colors here, and that is beautiful, and this is the way how to do it. So if you like this video and maybe you'd like to go even more deeper with some more other advanced items, I would highly recommend you check out this one on how to add an image on top of the bars in Chart.js, where you can see these images here on top. So if you're interested, the link is popping up right now, as you see.